Hello?
Hey Laura, how are you? It's Jason and Joe.
Hey, I'm fine. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. I understand you're in Vegas right now.
Yes, I am on the ground in Vegas investigating. That's correct.
What have you learned that you can share with us?
Well, so far, I just arrived yesterday, and so I've just been taking a lot of pictures and meeting with sources and trying to gather information. And I've also just been doing kind of like a walk around of the Mandalay uh, to take photographic evidence of security cameras so that people can see just how wired and how much surveillance there is inside the casino, right? So
Hmm.
we still haven't been given any type of surveillance footage by the police. They haven't released that information to the public yet. But if you look at the pictures I've been posting, not only is it impossible to walk inside the Mandalay Bay casino for like 5 feet without another camera above your head, but
Right.
there's also like about five cameras that are visible at least. I'm sure there are others that aren't visible
Yeah.
that have 360-degree lenses that are tilted at an angle overlooking the windows that were shot out in Stephen Paddock's two rooms, right, in
Hmm.
which he carried out this attack.
Wow.
So there has to be some surveillance footage of the actual shooting because not only does the Mandalay security camera, hover above at an angle above those two rooms, but the Luxor Hotel, which is directly across the street, their security cameras have like a head-on view of the windows. So other neighboring hotels, it's guaranteed they've got to have surveillance footage of the shooting probably as it took place coming out of the windows, which would mean that they'd be able to tell us whether there were two shooters or not. You'd be able to see muzzle flash from two windows.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Vegas has got to be one of the most heavily surveilled locations
Right.
in the world. Every hotel has tons of security cameras all around. I mean, not to mention Joe has firsthand eyewitness knowledge of
Hmm.
shell casings on the ground at the venue, which would most probably indicate that there were shooters outside of that hotel room, probably among the crowd. How else do shell casings get there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to investigate that myself as well, but
Right.
unfortunately, the whole area is blocked off and I can't get in.
Hmm.
But yes, I mean that's true. Like why are there shell casings? If anybody has shot a gun, they know that the shell casing is ejected at the location or maybe like a few feet in front of the location where you're shooting.
Right.
Right? The
Yeah.
Right.
shell casings wouldn't just um they wouldn't just
Even if they popped out the window, they're not going across the street into the venue where Joe was watching the concert. That just doesn't make any
Right.
sense.
But as we exited the venue, at the very rear of it, the north end of it, the Tropicana was on the left, and that's where everybody was kind of going to for protection. And the side door there was a parking lot there that extends to the front of the Tropicana. And as I was going through that side parking lot to the side door, I could see brass colored either spent rounds or casings there. So uh, just by that alone, I would imagine that there's got to be somebody else other than me. I mean, there was 22,000 people there. I can imagine somebody else saw that, and not just concert goers, but law enforcement or first responders.
right.
And nobody is really discussing that. So, have you heard anything about that specific area where spent rounds or casings could be as part of your investigation there so far?
I haven't heard about that, but I have been hearing a lot of people say that that their friends were there and they saw somebody shooting on the ground. I have people who
Really?
are telling me they were working there and they
Wow.
saw somebody shooting into the crowd. So
Wow.
I do plan on meeting with some of these individuals. I don't have any photographic evidence, but there are multiple people who have contacted me saying, "Hey, I was working at the festival that night, and I definitely saw someone shooting on the ground." So
Wow.
when it's one person who says that, okay, it's one thing. But if you
But it's
have multiple
several.
people saying that,
Right.
um, if they're willing to go on the record as well, I mean, that's a game changer, of course,
Yeah.
because what are you going to do if you have multiple witnesses saying that they saw a shooter on the ground?
Yeah, we had Jake Morphonius on the show Friday or Saturday night, and he had played a video on his show that a woman recorded in the Bellagio, where she and her husband were at the bar in the Bellagio, and bullets came through the window. And everyone in her video
Right.
in the Bellagio is seated. The hotel is under lockdown. I mean, that's clear. There has been not only no reporting, there has been total suppression of that.
Right.
It's kind of unprecedented, the level of denial that the mainstream media, the government, the police, the FBI. I mean, this is really unheard of. We've never seen anything like this before, have we?
No, I mean, I think there's a lot that we're not being told, right? I mean, they're obviously lying to the American people. And I've obtained receipts which are published, and even CNN. I mean, CNN actually confirmed what I originally broke and reported, which is that the shooter has actually checked into the hotel on the 25th. And so Bob Ortega at CNN wrote this article, and then he just casually slips in the article, he was checked in, the shooter was checked in on the 25th, but Bob Ortega didn't even question the narrative. So how are you going to insert a change of date, which is totally contradictory to what the FBI and law enforcement are still telling the American public? But if CNN is even reporting 4 or 5 days after the fact that I reported that the shooter checked in on the 25th, where's their other article questioning the FBI timeline?
Right.
Why is the FBI telling us he checked in on the 28th if even CNN has been able to confirm, supposedly, that he checked in on the 25th, just as I confirmed?
Right. Yeah, I mean, one of the most outstanding aspects of this story, setting aside the horrific nature of the act itself, is the crazy level to which, we're being told that black is white and up is down. And I mean, there's obviously a lot of us who, even much more so. I mean, on September, 12th, 2001, I do think a lot of people, I'm guilty of this, I do think a lot of people believed what was on the news. I don't think, for many, many people, September 11th was a red pill event, and I think we've reached a critical mass now where maybe I'm looking at this through, glasses that are colored in the tint of what we're looking at, but it just seems like so many people are awake to the idea that this is not true. What they're telling us is just straight not true.
Right.
Yeah, it isn't. And I confronted the FBI actually last night. I
Really?
was inside the Mandalay Bay. I saw FBI officers get out of vehicles in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw them, I started taking pictures of them, and they put their jackets on to cover their FBI insignia.
Ooh.
So I followed them in Mandalay Bay, and you're going to see this exclusive footage. It's going to that I'm releasing today. It will be published later on. That I followed them up the escalators, and I asked them. I said, "Okay, you guys are FBI agents. So why is it that you guys are, lying to the American people, telling them that he checked in on the 28th when there's receipts that show he checked in on the 25th?" And
Right.
they said, "Oh, no comment," and they just continued to be silent up the escalator. So I took pictures of their decals. I took pictures of their license plate numbers. These are FBI investigators from California.
Wow.
Right? So they have
Lo-
California FBI units in Las Vegas investigating this,
That's
and
strange.
And
it's very strange.
Laura, was this the Mandalay Bay they went into?
Yeah, this was inside the Mandalay Bay.
Okay, because the escalator is all the way in the back past the sports book. That's the only escalator I can think of that takes you up to the second floor where there are restaurants and shops. Wonder why they're all the way at that.
There's another escalator if you walk in through the valet, where there's the bottom level valet.
That's right, to go downstairs.
Not
That's
on the
right.
very bottom level, but it goes out to the front. It goes out
That's
to
right.
the front of the hotel.
But
It's
we took
valet
that.
on the front.
Right, got it. Okay, we took that
So if you go to
escalator
the
to go through
valet
valet to go to the concert. That's right. Okay.
Yeah,
But
there's
you
an
raise a great
escalator.
point. I mean, why would they have someone outside of Nevada? Las Vegas obviously has an FBI field office. Why do they need guys from California?
Well, also too, I mean, if you have people, they have DHS there, they have FBI from Washington D.C., they have people all over working on this. Apparently, I guess it's because Stephen Paddock supposedly had a house in California. That's what news reports are saying.
Wow. Interesting.
So I can maybe that's why, but I do find it strange that the FBI vehicles that are parked out front of the hotel are California vehicles, California license plates, and I mean, I took pictures. I have pictures of the license plate numbers and FBI decals in the same car windows with FBI agent names. Like one of them actually left his business card in his window.
Ha! That's weird. Why would they
And
do that?
I reached out to him. I tried contacting him, and there was no answer. But I want to know why are there California FBI agents outside of the Mandalay?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Good question.
Laura, Jake was telling us about how, his reporting on the Vegas shooting, it's been getting like, hundreds of thousands and in one case even millions, over 1 million hits. And he has been coming under pretty heavy harassment as a result. Have you experienced anything like that as an independent journalist? Has anybody tried to silence you or shut down your social media accounts or go and be as overt as threatening you?
I haven't received any threats here on the ground. No, I haven't. I mean, previously for my previous reporting of events in the past, yes, I've been threatened, but not. I haven't received any threats regarding this. People are saying, "Be careful, be careful, be careful."
Right.
Like, you need to be careful. But look, I mean, a lot of people are going to say that because I'm dealing with the FBI and law enforcement out here. But look, I'm not really scared of them. It does make me a little nervous, just knowing that the FBI has the power to issue secret gag orders on people, but I, I just, I'm not that worried.
I like your chutzpah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm watching the news as we speak right now, and it's strange because the FBI is searching the home of the shooter again, right? They have had a week, and they need to do another search. And then the brother of the shooter flew into Las Vegas this weekend. It's so strange to me. It's so strange.
Yeah.
Laura, do you know anything about the Ogden, the Ogden Hotel, or actually it's a luxury condo building in Vegas? Have you heard anything from your sources relates to that? I think that he checked in or rented a room at this Ogden luxury condo building, which is on the other end of Vegas, from what I understand, and it was for the Life is Beautiful concert, and that's actually on September 24th, which is the Sunday before this all went down. Can you, for any of your sources, discuss with you about? They have, okay.
Apparently, the shooter had checked a room or was checked into. There were actually 2 rooms, from what I'm being told, at the Ogden. So why would you need 2 rooms? That's very strange, right? He's booking rooms. He booked rooms in Chicago. He booked rooms at the Ogden. He booked rooms at the Mandalay. Like, why do you need 2 rooms if you're just by yourself? It doesn't make sense.
Were they connected? Were they interconnected? Do you know, like the rooms that he had at Mandalay?
I'm not sure. But from what I'm told, it was 2 rooms as well. There were 2 rooms in Chicago, and I called the hotel where, the Blackstone Hotel in Chicago, where he supposedly stayed during Lollapalooza. And
he never showed up, though, I heard.
Never showed up.
Right.
But the rooms were still in his name.
Right.
Someone stayed in the rooms, I'm sure. So, I mean, why else would they be looking into this if no one stayed in those rooms? I reached out to them, and they said, we cannot give that information out. Law enforcement and hotel management has said we can't confirm whether or not someone was staying in those 2 rooms. So we know it wasn't Stephen Paddock. And then another interesting fact is the day that those rooms were booked. So there was a room for August 1st and August 3rd. On August 1st, he was in Reno, Nevada, buying a van for cash, or a car for cash, right, at Hyundai. So who was in Chicago? Why would he book a room in Chicago if he wasn't going to be in Chicago?
I can't help but keep pointing out the parallels between this event and the JFK assassination. There was sort of an aborted attempt in Miami the week before the Dallas event, or a couple weeks before, and this is sort of similar. We've got all these other sort of similar concert type events with multiple hotel rooms. I mean, if this was a shooting team that was going to be just opening fire on a crowd, who knows? If it's a planned military style operation, who knows what sort of circumstances might cause them to abort, and they would plan multiple attempts at the same event, essentially. And if there's not a particular target, as there was in the case of JFK, if they're just saying, okay, here's a concert, here's a concert, here's a concert, or maybe there was a specific target. Laura, have you been able to drill down at all into the list of the individuals that were murdered on that night?
No, I haven't. I do plan on visiting some of the hospitals or trying to speak with victims or family members, but I just arrived yesterday and I haven't really been able to gather too much information on people who were murdered.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be interesting to start to see who's on that list and see if there are any connections between people or anyone who has political or business significance relative to any of the other people involved in this event. Just like, I mean, was
Right.
this? Because the thing that sticks out in my mind as well, we had this interview with Dr. Thomas Rudd, who was a coroner, and Las Vegas. If you look at the murder rate, certainly 59 people coming into the coroner's office all at once would overwhelm any coroner's office in any city, probably in the world,
Right.
certainly in the United States. So,
well, yeah, and they left bodies there for a while too. The bodies weren't moved for like a day. So,
Right.
I mean,
Well,
you can imagine.
I know that for a
bodies
fact. Right.
Las Vegas sun. I mean, that's going to speed up decomp process severely, and I want to see the autopsy reports. The thing that's most concerning to me is not so much, the there's 59 or 58 dead bodies, right? But in my opinion, the body that's going to tell us the most information is his body. Like, why haven't we seen any toxicology reports? Why haven't we seen an autopsy report? Did he commit suicide? Was he shot? Right? Where was he shot in the body? What were the rounds used? Because then we'd be able to find out if he was killed by a possible second shooter in the room who wanted to get away, if he killed himself, or if police actually shot him. Was he on drugs at the time? Was he drinking alcohol? What was in his system at the time? Was he taking psychotropic medication? It's, these are important things that need to be released and could really assist with the investigation. But now the brothers in Las Vegas trying to have the body cremated, and I'm kind of wondering, see pictures of this body.
I'll tell you, Laura, that fits the pattern of what we're seeing, in the case of Peter Smith, and, they're very quick to cremate the bodies. What do you make about this 13, this image of a 13 on his neck in the shot glass photo that is not present in the death photo?
I don't know. I don't know what to think of that, really. I mean,
so easy to falsify photographic evidence.
Just a mark. I mean, it's hard to tell, but it is interesting. I mean, there's a lot of things. It's just another one of these suspicious things that doesn't add up. Did he have a tattoo? Was it removed?
Right.
If he did have a tattoo and it was removed, why was it removed?
Well, why would a multimillionaire guy like that get a sloppy 13 tattooed on his neck? I mean, it's not like he's like a gang member who's, rolling around, with MS-13 or something like that. It just seems like a very anomalous thing. What about this? Someone sent me today, I guess it was a tweet or a 4chan post or something from Monday, September 11th, 2017, where someone is saying that if their plan is successful, state of Nevada will pass a law in the future making all casinos have mandatory metal detectors and backscatter X-ray machines. Soon after, federal law will be passed to put these machines in universities, high schools, federal buildings, you name it. And of course, this is all linked to Chertoff and all that. I mean, I haven't been able to verify if this post actually came out on the 11th of September. Obviously, more than 3 weeks prior to the event. But if it did, that's pretty significant. Have you seen that at all?
I have seen that 4chan post, and it is really interesting too because, and I'm not saying this is factual information, but there was a guy in Rochester, New York, who was paid a visit by the FBI this week, and they raided his home. And the next day, he killed himself, and he killed his daughter, and then himself.
And his daughter, right?
His name was John. His name was John. The individual who wrote this post. I mean, look, I'm not saying it's factual. I'm just trying to just say things that are
going around.
These are posts that exist, and then this guy's name is John as well. He worked for a company that makes like electronics that are often used by the defense contractors. And there was a charger that was found in Stephen Paddock's room, apparently, that
Right.
didn't match the charger for his phone. And from either some news reports I've seen online, they were able to trace the making of it back to the company of this individual who committed a murder-suicide.
Is that Ultralife?
So, I mean, Ultralife, yeah. Supposedly Ultralife.
Critical power solutions and communication systems for customers around the world. Medical.
They also
defense.
Those are chargers for
pacemakers.
Government, right? Like
well, for it says government and defense, security, right. Medical, energy, industrial. I mean, it's some sort of advanced power cell company. They're in Newark. It says Newark, New York. I never knew there was a Newark in New York. I wonder where that is.
Newark, New Jersey.
That's upstate somewhere.
Interesting. Yeah. Hey, Laura.
Right.
I think we've all heard that he was, and I think even the police chief there in Vegas confirmed that he was planning to escape. Now, 32nd floor. How was he going to get from the 32nd floor with eyes in the sky everywhere in that hotel?
Yeah.
Into the elevator and out of the hotel. I mean, did he have? And I don't mean to joke. Did he have a parachute? Did he have? I mean, how was he expecting? Do you know, or have you heard? How was he expecting to escape?
Well, I think there's information that we're not being told, and I think that Steve Wynn, during his interview with Fox News yesterday, kind of slipped out information he wasn't supposed to say. If you listen to the interview Steve Wynn provided, he kind of said or suggested that the shooter took a freight elevator or a service elevator in the hotel, and those are only for employees. So right. You can go back and listen to this, and I'm pretty sure that, you know.
How does Steve Wynn know? How does Steve Wynn know what's going on in the freight elevators at the Mandalay Bay? He doesn't own.
Well, he said that he's talking to his quote good friends over MGM, and I mean Steve Wynn, arguably, you know, the most connected man in Las Vegas. I'm sure he could know these things if he wanted to. I mean, he was talking about how he has, you know, trained members of armed services and all branches of government who helped him implement a counterterrorism security program in his own hotels. I believe he said 2 years ago or so. So he knows a lot of people in the security industry, and I'm sure he's very well connected and can get this information if he wanted it.
Well, and I'll tell you what, I think it was Queen Tut who brought up the concept that this might be a turf war, you know, how MGM casinos or whatever that conglomerate that owns the Mandalay is called, they're opening a big thing at the National Harbor over there in D.C., and, you know, maybe Wynn is leaking this information because that's sort of a salvo he's firing in the battle against his enemies in the Las Vegas turf war. Maybe he's revealing something they don't want revealed.
Interesting.
I don't know. I'm not going to speculate, but it is just worth noting that Steve Wynn mentioned the service elevator, and then he also mentioned that his staff, you know, didn't ever see the shooter drinking any alcohol. And obviously, when you're on TV and you're giving out information, I'm sure you're being very strategic and methodological about the information you're releasing. And what do we know about people who don't drink, right? What types of people don't drink?
Mormons.
Well, Muslims don't drink, right?
Yeah.
Muslims aren't supposed to drink alcohol.
I think you got more Mormons in Las Vegas than you got Muslims, but it's true.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is ISIS originally took responsibility for this, and the FBI was so fast to tell us that it wasn't ISIS. And then they said that this individual, the shooter, Stephen Paddock, converted to Islam. Well, I mean, if people are saying that he wasn't drinking and they never saw him drinking, that's just further evidence or, you know, more information that suggests that ISIS really is telling the truth.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's pretty scary that we live in a world right now where we don't know whether to trust ISIS or our own FBI.
I think not trusting ISIS is not trusting ISIS is probably the go-to, but you know.
Right.
Well,
yeah, I understand. But what I'm trying to say is the FBI has lied about, you know, terrorist attacks in the past. They haven't been transparent. I mean, the FBI basically protected Hillary Clinton, and my point is people are so quick to trust the FBI and law enforcement, but there's a lot of documentation that shows that the FBI and other law enforcement agencies in this country have not been transparent or honest with the American people.
No doubt. No
doubt. Especially with regards to terrorism. So
right. And what have you heard about Andrew McCabe's involvement in this FBI investigation, Laura?
Andrew McCabe, well, I'm sure this all goes it all goes to the top, but look, I think
no surprise there.
You know, it's very strange how people in DC are very quiet about this. If you notice, Jeff Sessions hasn't said anything. There doesn't really seem to be like a lot of statements coming out of Washington and bureau offices regarding this investigation. And if it's something that really is taking up all the resources of our government's investigative personnel, then why has there been such a lack of conversation from people in our Justice Department, right?
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't Sessions be part of one of these press conferences? I mean, initially, at least.
I don't know, but I just think it's kind of strange. I mean, I haven't heard Jeff Sessions say anything. Have you?
No.
Don't you think that's kind of weird?
The only thing that I've heard that Jeff Sessions has said, and this came through a third party, was that he told someone in Jason Chaffetz's office that he wasn't going to prosecute Hillary Clinton or any of these people. So,
well, look, I think it's very strange how there's been a lot of, maybe it's just because they want to kind of localize it and keep it here on the ground, but I think it's very strange that we haven't really heard a lot of statements from Sessions, McCabe, other, key figures who really should be informing the public about what's going on, right? Because if DHS has really taken over the investigation, which is what sources are telling me, and DHS is inside of that hotel, this is a national security issue, and this deserves, statements from national leaders and appointees, right?
No doubt.
Hey, Laura, I just have one more question, if you don't mind. The two over by the venue, the two tall cement cylinders that have rebar at the top. Have you seen those?
What are you referring to exactly?
There are these two really, really tall cement cylinders. I can't tell you how tall they're, but they're really tall. I mean, they're not taller than Mandalay, but they're over by or behind where the stage is, I believe, across the street from the Mandalay.
Oh, are you talking about the jet containers?
Say that again. You broke up a little bit.
Are you talking about the jet fuel containers?
No, the two wide white ones. No, you should be able to see them over by the venue. They're two cement cylinders, and they extend, a few hundred feet in the air, and then they have what looks to be these tall pieces of rebar at the very top. From what I've read and heard, that those on the inside are elevator shafts. And
there was somebody who did a video about that yesterday on YouTube.
Right. And there could have been, I guess, not to speculate, but there could have been shooters up there, correct? Because it was dark at the venue. I know that for sure. And at the very top of that, I don't think you can see the rebar that's at the very top of the cylinder. So I just wanted to ask if you had heard anything as it relates to those two things across the street.
I haven't.
Okay. Interesting.
Well, listen, Laura, this is good information. Thanks for calling us, and let's certainly stay in touch. I'll put this out, and we'll see if anybody gets back to us with anything interesting or useful.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for your time,
Laura.
Laura.
We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Okay.
We'll talk. Yeah, and
stay
tuned for that video that we'll.
Where can people see that video tonight?
It's going to be released exclusively with Got News. GotNews.com.
GotNews.com. All right. Great. Thanks, Laura.
Great. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.